Yes, sir. Welcome to the BagTalk pod. I'm your host, Jay Rose. You already know what we talking about. We talking hoops. We talking hoops. It's going to be a little hard to do this during the playoffs because things are changing every day. You know, there's a game every day. Something I say today could not even matter tomorrow. Matter of fact, I'm recording this at 1:38 p.m. There's a game at 8:30. So whatever I say about the Lakers Nuggets, that probably won't apply in a couple hours. But we're going to make it work anyway. Make sure y'all hit me with a little KD tween hezzy splash on that like button if you mess with the video. And if you like all my content, subscribe. But you know, all the daily content, you know where to find me. Instagram, JRoseHoops. TikTok, also JRoseHoops. Let's really get into the meat and potatoes of these hoops, though. I want to start off with talking about the Celtics Heat series. As we know, the Heat are up 2-0, and that's very troublesome for the Celtics, especially because they're going to have to go to Miami, and the Heat have not lost a single road game this entire playoff run, and I think that's incredible. Will they lose one? I think it's pretty likely because a lot of these games were close. They got a 119 to 114 game against the Bucks. They got 109 to 101 against the Knicks, 96-92 against the Knicks, and the other two were blowouts. But, you know, 3 of the 5 were pretty close. These 2 first games in the Celtics series, pretty close. I can see them pulling out at least a game. But let's say they only pull out one game. That still leaves them at 3-1. You still got to win 3 games straight. And what I'm seeing out of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown is that they are not going to win you 3 games straight. They're not going to. I don't think I've seen them have a 3-game run of consistent excellence this entire playoff run. So I can't just walk out here and say that I think that the Celtics are going to come back and even the series up. I'm not entirely sure if they'll win one game. And if they do win one game, it's more likely that they're going to go home than not. I think that sucks, honestly, especially because I think them losing the series will have some serious implications for this roster. They've been to countless amount of conference finals. They went against the Cavs in 2018. They've went against the Heat, 3 times? So this is 4 conference finals, and they've been to the finals once, and they have not won a championship. So I do believe if they end up losing this series, just like if they lost the last series, there's going to be some serious moves in that front office, and we all know Jason Tatum's not going anywhere. I truly believe if they lose this playoff series, Jaylen Brown might be elsewhere, especially if they lose 4-0 or 3-1. Now, if they do come back and make this a series, I think we're talking about a different scenario completely. But just looking based on what Miami has done in this playoff run so far, based on what the Celtics have looked like in this playoff run so far, and based on this series alone, I don't really see the Celtics winning based on what I've seen. They'd have to turn it up, and they'd have to just play better for me to really believe in them at this point. On the other side of the spectrum, though, Jimmy Butler really is showing me something this season. Jimmy Butler has been on a tear. We all remember that first round matchup against the Bucks where he was just going insane. He didn't play bad against the Knicks by any means, but he toned it down a bit. But we're back up to that level again here with the Celtics. It looks like he plays up or down to the competition. He's playing the top 2 teams in the East, and he's looked amazing. I really don't have a lot of words for Jimmy Butler right now. He's just looked on another level. Compared to other superstar players, he looked like he's on another level. He might be one of the best players in this playoff run. He is one of the best players in this playoff run. I wouldn't put him 1. We're going to get to number 1 soon. But he's definitely up there. I'd say top 5 for sure. Maybe top 3 in this playoffs. I definitely would love to see him win a ring. That would be one of the toughest championship runs in NBA history, no doubt. Next up, I want to talk about this Lakers versus Denver Nuggets series. And this is a very interesting series to me because I feel like the Lakers should have pulled out one of, if not both of these games. But down the stretch, they just could not get it done. And the Nuggets did what they had to do. We're going to start off with, of course, the elephant in the room, LeBron James. LeBron James looks old. LeBron James looks like Father Time is catching up with him. He has not looked like LeBron this entire playoff run. I'm not going to say he's been playing bad by any means, but 22 points is not really what I'm expecting from LeBron. You know what I'm saying? So for LeBron to be averaging that, it's just a little underwhelming, especially because, you know, we come into the playoffs, you expect LeBron to turn that switch on, and he's looked worse than he has in the regular season, which is kind of troublesome for the Lakers. This series really is just going to come down to LeBron, can you close this out for me? LeBron, can you score for me? LeBron, can you make this play for me? And he just hasn't been able to do it. He's done it the other series when they need him. He's came down, especially in that Grizzlies series. He's done it. I'm not saying he hasn't done it, but it just hasn't looked the same. LeBron has looked very old in this playoff run. He looks a step slow. He looks like he doesn't want to turn the gas on unless he has to. And guess what, LeBron? You got to turn the gas on right now. He has to turn the gas on right now. Being down 2-0 and Jokic is putting up video game numbers. Jamal Murray looks like he's going on a tear right now. You absolutely must win this next game. So I hope LeBron comes out with a new tenacity. Next up, we have Anthony Davis, and boy, I don't understand what's wrong with Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis has been the poster boy of inconsistency this playoff run. I expect Anthony Davis, and LeBron for that matter, to be up there, either high 20s, 30s in scoring. He's also averaging 21, 22 points, which is crazy because when you look at him play, I feel like he's having a big game every other game, but he's also having a bad game every other game as well. Very inconsistent. He just had a 40-point game in game 1. Game 2, I'm going to read you his stats. 4 for 15 with 18 points. 1 for 3 from 3. 9 for 11 from the free throw line. And here's definites. He's going to give you defense and rebounding. He gave you 14 boards, 4 blocks. That's great. 4 turnovers as well. 4 fouls as well. It's not the greatest defensive performance. He wasn't efficient at all, and he just couldn't put the ball in the rim. And you need Anthony Davis to put the ball in the rim. You need him to have an average game. He hasn't had an average game this whole playoff run. I promise you that. I can promise you that. Anthony Davis is either putting up a historic performance that makes him look like one of the best players we've ever seen play basketball, or he's putting up one of the worst performances on his team. He's routinely getting outperformed by Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, players like that, the role players on the Lakers. You can't have that on a night-to-night basis. You can't have nights where D'Lo is outperforming you. Unless you're having a great night and D'Lo's just having a better one, you can't have those nights. AD had a bad night. Those role players gave you pretty much all that they could give you. Austin Reeves 22 and Rui 21 is exactly that's the max I'm expecting from those guys, more or less. On a night-to-night basis, I feel like that's what you can expect. So for them to be outplaying you is absolutely ridiculous, Anthony Davis. If you had an average game in game 2, y'all only lost by 5 points. If Anthony Davis has an average game in game 2, they pull that one out. 18 points just isn't getting it done. If he had 26, they pull it out. If he had 25, they probably pull it out. Honestly, Anthony Davis just needs to make sure he's on his P's and Q's, and he just hasn't done that. However, shout out to the Laker bench. Shout out to the Laker bench. And not even just the bench, the role players. You have, like I said, you have guys like Austin Reeves, 8 for 16, 22 points. He's been doing this sporadically throughout the playoffs. He'll have his bad moments, but when you need Austin Reeves to come play, he's been coming out and he's been hooping. Rui Hachimura, I feel like he's been consistent. They're leaving Rui Hachimura because LeBron and AD are there, and he's capitalizing. If you're going to let me score, he's going to score. Dennis Schroeder's having his games. D'Angelo Russell's having his games. Lonnie Walker's having his games. And I like the adjustments that Darvin Ham made, taking Troy Brown Jr. and Malik Beasley out of the lineup. I think that they can pull out these 2 games at home. I really do. But if they don't, series is wrapped. If they can only get one, the series is wrapped. I think they need both at home to pull this series out. And either way, it's going to be a tough road back. A very tough road back. The Denver Nuggets have looked amazing. The Denver Nuggets have absolutely looked amazing. Beatable, but they've looked amazing. They've looked good enough to the point where I think whoever comes out on the Eastern side has a shot. I think they have a shot of beating them. I don't think it's going to be a landslide one way or the other. I do believe now that the playoffs are really unraveling that every team left is more or less evenly matched from what I've seen so far. But the Nuggets are definitely doing their thing. This wasn't the most efficient night from Jokic, only shooting 9 for 21, but that's not terrible. He also had 23 points, 17 rebounds, and 12 assists. That's video game stuff. He's having these high triple doubles every other night, and a lot of the time he's having 30-point nights along with these triple doubles, and they're very efficient. In game 2, Jamal Murray looked like he's turning the clock back to the bubble. I hope this can be regular Murray going from now on, because I don't really like calling him Bubble Murray, and I know he don't like that, but it's true. He hasn't performed up to that level he did in the bubble until this playoff run. This playoff run, he's definitely back up to that level. He really is, and I don't feel like a lot of people are talking about that. But if this is just Jamal Murray now, if this is not Bubble Murray, if this is Jamal Murray, the Nuggets are going to be very, very dangerous. Also, I want to give a shout out to their role players. Their role players getting 0 love. The role players on this roster get no love. Nobody talks about how Michael Porter Jr. is a flamethrower, and he don't care. Michael Porter Jr. has never seen a shot he doesn't like, which can be detrimental in sometimes, especially when he's cold. But if he's hitting and he's just shooting these threes, guys on his face, he does not care. He's knocking them down. Aaron Gordon's been playing great defense the entire playoff run, and he's also giving you some nights where he's putting up a decent amount. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, if they leave him open, he's prone to get some points here and there. Bruce Brown playing great defense, giving a lot of effort, and he'll have his nights of scoring as well. So I think that this Denver Nuggets roster deserves a lot more credit than they get. Jokic is not carrying a group of bums to the finals right now. He's not. This is a very talented group of guys, and I do think that they can go all the way with this. I just wanted to show the Denver Nuggets my credit because I feel like sports media and basketball media as a whole just aren't covering the Nuggets roster. They're covering Jokic a lot, but I don't think any of those other guys get the same love as the role players on other teams do. But that was the first BagTalk podcast by J Rose. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, press that subscribe button, press that like button, leave a comment, you know what I'm saying? Follow me on my socials, J Rose Hoops on Instagram, J Rose Hoops on TikTok. Same deal. I'm going to catch y'all in the next one.